The technology works. My name is Katrina Clark, and I am going to be talking on the secret art of making mistakes. This is something that I'm very passionate about as a teacher. So, I want to start my talk like this, and I want to take us right into the job force. Obviously, the workplace, sorry. This is where we're heading with our students. This is where we want our students to get to, and we want our students to be very successful. And as a number of speakers have already talked about today, the jobs that our students are going to be getting in the next 10 or even 20 years are going to be some of the things that we've never even thought of before. They're going to be so different to the jobs that are available now and the jobs that were available 10 years ago. So we really need to equip our students for the future. So in a Forbes survey, they interviewed over 100 CEOs and asked them, what do you think the most valued asset that an employee can have today? Now, of course, they didn't all agree on one, but an alarming 77% did agree on a top three. Those are creativity, critical thinking, and my favorite, innovation. The three things that are hailed to get us out of this mess that we've gotten our world into. And the three things that fuel some of the biggest companies on the planet. So clearly, we need to really integrate these into our classrooms and what we are teaching our students. But what if I told you, I believe that there's something missing, possibly between this connection as well, and that there's something missing in our classrooms, something that we need to bring into focus, and something which is also the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and critical thinking. But somewhere between running around in the playground as children, using our imaginations, pretending that the stick is a lightsaber and laughing with our friends. And then growing up, and the stress of education and growing up, we lose this thing. And this thing that can actually free us to our most creative and innovative ideas and thoughts. So, I'd like you all to, thank you. I'd like you all to have a think. Hands up here, who has ever made a mistake? Awesome, I'm glad to see that there are so many honest people in the audience here. That's brilliant. Everybody here has made a mistake, yeah? Sometimes they're little mistakes, most of the times they're little mistakes. Sometimes they look more like this. Now I want you to think about that mistake. I want you to think about how it feels. Even if it's a little mistake, like forgetting somebody's name, or ordering the wrong thing, or calling someone by the wrong name, it leaves you with a really uncomfortable feeling. Such an uncomfortable feeling. So why do we suffer so much from our mistakes? We're human. We're meant to make mistakes. And in a world where everything is edited to look so perfect, including our own lives on Instagram and Facebook, we're not perfect. We see mistakes as weaknesses, and they make us feel vulnerable. Someone might realize that I don't have it all together, that I haven't actually got the perfect career, the amazing husband, and don't forget the perfect children that I'm raising. Selfie, selfie, selfie. Oh, highlight the eyes, hide the chins. This is the world that our students are launching themselves into. So when did we all become so obsessed in living these perfect lives? And when did mistakes become so bad to us all? Reality tells us that the hospital staff do not look like the cast of Grey's Anatomy. And the law firms are not full of sculpted and gorgeous mid-20-year-olds who apparently have no sleep, yet have no bags under their eyes, are perfectly manicured and have amazing hair. Where do they find the time? Yet, The world that we see every day is not real, yet it fills our aspirations. And this is what makes us vulnerable, because we feel imperfect. This is why we're not posting on Facebook about the parking ticket that we got because we spent too long in the supermarket deciding whether to buy the big packet of Jaffa cakes or the small packet of Jaffa cakes and some pretzels after completely bombing at a job interview. Instead, we're posting the 67th selfie that we've taken because it was just the right angle. And do we care if someone gets a name wrong? Do we care if someone makes a silly mistake? We are much more empathetic and understanding to everybody else's mistakes. Yet to our own, we are so critical. But mistakes are just that, they're part of living. And if we focus on this terrible feeling, we're never going to catch our breath to see the amazing learning that happens when we make a mistake. Can we go back to, that's it, this one here. A baby, when learning to walk, will fall over hundreds of times. They don't just fall over 10 times and go, you know what, actually, I've got this crawling thing down, I'm just going to stick with that. This other walking thing's way too hard. And most sports people will tell you that they lost more games than they ever won. I love this quote from Serena Williams. She says, I've grown most not from my victories, but from my setbacks. She doesn't even call her losses a loss, they are setbacks and the room and the place for her to learn to make it better to get to number one. Dyson, we all know Dyson, that really sucky vacuum cleaner? Yeah? 5,126 prototypes of learning before he got to the final product. Creativity and innovation is not some kind of mystical process reserved for those who are naturally creative, or, as I personally hate this term, the arty-farty types. No. But the creative process is ugly, it's full of errors, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. We cannot live our lives by treading the beaten track over and over again because we'll never move forward. So what do we do when we make a mistake? Yeah? Most of us eat a piece of chocolate cake, down a Mars bar, and then destroy all evidence that we ever tried, right? Pretty accurate? But what if it's not actually the mistake, but the way we view our mistakes, which is, well, the mistake in our thinking? Maybe this is what's holding us back from our most creative and innovative ideas yet. As a student, it was, just a few years ago, I never wanted to put up my hand, even if I was 100% sure I had the answer, because of this fear of making a mistake. I wrote my assignments and my essays towards what I thought that the teacher wanted me to write. I kept my exciting, my creative, my innovative ideas inside. I never let them come out because I was too scared that someone would think that I was weird, or my ideas were weird, or that I was strange, or that my ideas were totally wacky. But it's this very thinking that we need to overcome in our classrooms, and we need to overcome in our personal lives as well, and let those creative ideas shine without the vulnerability of setting them free. As a drama teacher, I understand the importance of letting my students make a mistake. Welcome to drama class, I tell my students, I want you to make mistakes. They often look at me, they laugh, they snigger, they're not quite sure, there's a lot of uncomfortable feeling in the room. What do you mean, miss, you want us to make mistakes? Absolutely, because without releasing the fear of making mistakes, you're never going to push yourselves creatively. You're never going to come across those really exciting and really out there ideas, which is what we're looking for. I do a project with my grade 6s where I get them to develop a product or an idea which has never been thought of before. The more crazy, the more wacky, the better. And I do this through a process called creative brainstorming, which is where every idea gets written down. There's no judgment, there's no time for second guessing, every idea in their group gets written down. And this allows everybody to break through those barriers of judgment, to write their ideas down. And then what they have to do, as a study of verbal communication, they take their best idea and they turn it into a radio ad where they have to market it. Obviously, it doesn't have to be something that can even possibly be created. Some of the most exciting and creative ideas are Regeneration Curry House, which was a house that had a different flavour of curry in every room that you could just eat and then it would regenerate. A swimsuit that could teach you how to swim. A notebook which you'd write on questions and the answers would appear, however, invisible to teachers. I like the way these students think. Before becoming a drama teacher, I was a singing teacher, so I was a professional vocal coach for a number of years. And I used to shut one of my singing students in the cupboard. In saying that, she put herself in the cupboard and asked me to close the door because she was so cripplingly shy that this was the only way that she would open up and sing in front of me. Now this girl had the most amazing voice. I actually thought at one stage, maybe the closet's got some kind of just outstanding acoustics and maybe that's what's bringing her voice to life, so I tried it. It wasn't that. It was really her mesmerizing voice. But she was so cripplingly shy. So our vocal lessons became more about overcoming her fears. And it turns out that her biggest fear was making a mistake on stage. That's what was holding her back. Not getting it right, but getting it wrong. And this fear of getting it wrong was the thing that stopped her sharing this incredible voice with the world. So I made her do lots of fun things. I said, right, I want you to write your lyrics on the whiteboard and I want you to spell everything wrong. Spell everything wrong? Yes, spell everything wrong. I played dance off with her. Dance off is a fantastic game. Take this back to the students in your class. Yeah, but person A, person B, put on some truly funky music, not unlike the music that's playing over there right now. Person A has to do the worst possible dancing that they can possibly think of. Person B then has to do the bad dancing worse to make person A look better, and then you switch. It's a fantastic game for really breaking down barriers, having a lot of fun, and being really, really creative. So fast forward. This poor shy girl had to perform in order to pass her courses. And she was still so cripplingly shy. So one by one, we kind of broke away some of these fears of her being able to make a mistake by making her make deliberate mistakes in the classroom. Eventually, she was able to sing in front of a crowd. Fast forward a couple of years, she entered a competition. And she won it. It was a very big competition. She won unanimously for the most outstanding performance, and now she's working on a recording deal to bring this amazing voice to the world, which I think is an amazing object to describe how, if we let go of our fear of mistakes, we can truly live and breathe. Matthew Syed, author of Black Box Thinking, The Surprising Truth About Success, says, youngsters who are taught to think about failure in a more positive light not only become more creative but more resilient too. They see their failures not as reasons to give up. Instead, they engage with their failures and mistakes and develop new insights and deeper curiosity. The president of Pixar. I'm sure many of us in this room are parents. We all know Pixar. Our children all have their favourite Pixar film. I love how he puts in the creative process. Early on, all of our movies suck. That's a blunt assessment, I know. But I choose that phrasing because saying it in a softer way fails to convey how bad the first versions of our films really are. Pixar films are not good at first. And that's our job, to make them go from suck to non-suck. We're true believers in the creative process, reworking and reworking again, tell a flawed story, finds its through line, or a hollow character finds its soul. Brilliantly put, Ed. Love it. So, you suck. And that's a great thing. Unless you're a classical. So have you ever not done something in your lives because of that little voice in your head that says, what if you get it wrong? What if you get it wrong? Or, if you can get past that one, my personal favourite, what? You want to do that? There's like a billion other people who can do that better than you. Why do you want to do that? That's crazy. And if you can get past that one, that feeling of not being good enough, there's this close cousin. Oh, who do you think you are? These voices in our head make us feel vulnerable. And this vulnerability that we feel in opening ourselves to the possibility of failing and making mistakes and totally mucking things up is the fear that stops our dreams. And it's the dreams and the aspirations of our next generation that is going to save the planet. So we need to really push this home in our classrooms. Don't be scared of being the change makers. Don't be scared of making mistakes, because you need to be able to make mistakes to make progress. For without shutting down the fear of making mistakes, we shut down innovative thought, creative thinking, and we turn off the light to those genius moments. So I'd like to show you my version of the creative process from what we've learnt so far from Matthew Said, Ed Catmull, and all of my students. The creative and innovative process. First, you have a creative or innovative thought. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's weird. What even is this? It sucks, as Ed Catmull says. It kind of resembles what I intended, but it's very different. Is it meant to be like this? It's all wrong. I never should have started this in the first place. It's sticky. Why is it sticky? It's almost complete. It's a disaster. I'm going to drown myself in ice cream and chocolate chips. It's totally different than when I started, but this actually works better. It no longer sucks. So we need to give ourselves permission to mess it up, to explore the chaos and make mistakes, for mistakes are indeed the birthplace of creativity and innovation. So if we can teach creativity and innovation by simply encouraging our students to make mistakes, so both for ourselves and for our students, as we and them struggle to get their ducks in a row in a world where it's all about putting things in order, getting things right, following the rules, we also need to give our students permission to mess things up, explore chaos, the messy, the sticky, and to make mistakes. In summary, we live in a world which is painted in gold and obsessed with the perfect, filtered and photoshopped world portrayed in films, magazines and social media. But if we scratch beneath the surface of this world, we will find an earth that is crumbling and shattering at our feet. Our future relies on creativity and innovation to heal and fix our dying planet, our high suicide and depression rates, and our failing systems. It relies on letting the bad stuff, the stuff that went wrong, being imperfect humans who make mistakes, shine. Our next generation relies on letting go of judgment and realizing that we are not masters of perfection. This is unattainable. We're here to make mistakes as part of our journey. For if we don't allow this, we may never even start. So we have to talk about the vulnerability that we feel in order to make mistakes. We need to let our real lives shine, the ugly, the messy, the mistakes, the imperfections, to be seen and to be honest. For this is not a failure, this is a strength. So next time you make a mistake, I want you to smile and own that as part of your process. For you have learnt the secret art of making mistakes. Thank you.
Yeah, Kat! Woo!